check. We not take back no check. You pep talk. Tiggity check. Hey girl, let's lay the shot. We know say why you don't want the drama. When Tyson rise up the llama, say to pray at night with your father. He that thing by him out from the corner. You, me know say you're gonna rematch on you know say you're gonna. Bad man you run your mouth karma. When the then contract expire, maybe it's time to retire. Yo, hi guys, it's Leah Chann, nonetheless, and welcome to Come Box with Chann. We want cut. I know why, but he's just wrapping up with a sick wrap up with Spencer Fearon. Big up Sammy Ali. Kurt's on his way. Big up Nick Hammer. We want Kurt. Everybody hold up some picket signs. Big up you, Nick Hammer, as always. Ever the great, consistent supporter. Thank you. Bad tired, but always got the energy for the boxing. This show was kind of like off the cuff and supposed to also have another special guest as well, but I don't know, like they said they'll be here, so hopefully he shall grace us also with his presence. Kurt's on his way. Yeah, he's jumped in his car right now. I'm in Texas, you see. Jokes, I'm not. I'm really not in Texas. I'm in London, England, and I'm glad I'm in London, England, because I heard in Texas it is snowing like a mofo. Fight, man, figure! What's up, Lee? You right? We had a wicked show the other day, didn't we, Lee? Great show. I'm chopping up the bits bit by bit. Gone back to me short hair. It's all about this long hair business, long hair. But you know me, get bored with hairstyles. But I do prefer the short, I'm not going to lie. Hey. But reminds me of, when I was in America, I grew up watching a show called Fat Albert. Hey, I need to say that. If you was in Texas, you would be freezing. Yeah, I know. I heard Texas is crazy right now. Crazy. I'm in London. Texas in the summer is crazy, and I don't think you guys usually get cold weather like this, do you? Snow. Don't know. It's just some freak weather conditions, I guess. I need to get glasses because I'm getting blind when I don't blow up the screen. Lady Chann the legend, hope you are well. That is sweet of you. I am very well, thank you very much. I'm just here. Oh, he's graced us with his presence, people. Oh yeah, let me big up Spence. Spence, I was like, yeah, we've got a show to do. But like, thank you. I'm going to bring in Senor Contravolpe. I put a motherfucking screen. Where you at? Well, we're not seeing no face today.
No, I'm coming too. I'm just wrapping some stuff up, in between. A little intermission, but, kind of multitasking.
I remove you off the screen, shush. Because you still... okay, cool. Hurry up. Our other guest is here. Yay! GTS. All right. Jump back in when you're ready, because our guest is here.
Okay. So what...
Hang on, one sec. Hang on. Smoke!
Where you at? Mute. There I am. Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing, lady?
I'm just waiting for...
chilling.
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. It's a rainy day in Oakland. I'm good. It's a rainy day in Oakland, but it's not as bad as Texas.
Yeah, rainy day in London, but quite warm, but just rainy nonetheless. Not as bad as Texas. No snow for us, unless you live in the countryside for us. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, we never get snow here.
Yeah, I know.
It's always sunny in California, right?
Yeah. Oh, it never rains. It never rains
It's
in
always
Southern
in
California.
California. Yeah.
You know, that actually is an Oakland group. They're right there. Tony. They're right here in Oakland. I saw Raphael
Yeah,
Sadiq like 2 months
we
ago.
know it. We
Anyway,
know it, babe.
yeah,
We
yeah,
have. I grew up with that too.
yeah.
I grew up with that too. You think because I was in the
Let's do
UK
it. Yeah,
that we wasn't exposed to such great artists, US artists. That's all we
yeah.
grew up on quite a
You
lot.
you always put a smile on my face. You always put a smile on my face.
So do you. No, not always. Sometimes you put a grimace.
Oh
Oh,
well, no, that's you that puts the grimace on your face. I'm trying to clear it up. Turn the frown upside down. It ain't that serious. That man ain't did nothing to you.
we chop it up. Hold up. Hey. Do you know that one? Do you know that one?
Yeah,
Dr. Dre. Hey.
yeah. Tim Dog. You know, I saw that guy walking the street, and he said, "I was like, hey, what's up? Not Tim Dog, Nate Dog." I was like,
Nate Dogg.
it's like, hey, what's up? He said, hold up. Okay, it's cool shit.
Rest in peace to Nate Dogg, man. And he died, you know. He's no longer alive. Did you know that?
Yeah, a
No.
few years ago. Yeah, a few years ago, there was like a raft of celebrity deaths, like off there
Yeah,
doing that stuff.
that's sad. It's hot in Australia. Anyway, I don't know. Let's say, are you about? Are you here? You still fixing, or shall I mute you still?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
No, I've
Okay.
been listening to the whole thing. I guess I was muted, but no,
Yeah, I muted
I
you
was hearing the.
because I didn't think you was ready yet, so I just put you on mute because I heard running water. So I thought,
Yeah, the water was running, and it's still running. No, I'm just kidding. But no. Just give me about 2 minutes.
all right, I'll mute you and I'll chop it up with G to the S.
Okay.
Do you want me? You can unmute yourself. You can mute yourself and unmute yourself. Like, yeah, coolio and Lamar. Jalik, what's up, King? Lady Sham, walk on. All right. News at, I don't know, we're at 3 different time zones. News at 9, maybe. Bright Smoke, thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
Like I said, Mr. Now, we had quite intense, I'm still putting out, I think I've got one more section of that to put out. We had a great chop up. About 3 weeks ago now, on the heavyweight special, and you came through, and and obviously we was talking about like the show started. The show started about heavyweights, and I was with Fight Fan Figures, and I was talking about prospects, and we talked about prospects, and you came through and bombarded us, didn't you? We spoke about your good old pal, Deontay Wilder. And you basically just said a load of stuff. All right, so let me just start, GTF. So, when we were talking about, things are taken out of context and so forth and so forth, when we're talking about things like Mark Breland was accused of spiking the water, or when we're talking about things that, the first excuse of Deontay Wilder stating that, the costume made his legs weak. So, and you're saying that it was out of context, that at first the group or the Wildettes or the Wilder fans, whatever you want to call them, said he didn't say that first and foremost. I knew that it would crop up because I actually knew that he'd said it. And I absorbed so much information. I just couldn't pinpoint where I'd heard it from. And thank God it resurfaced. Now, then when that resurfaced, and anyway, Shelley Finkel already said it as well, like right after the fight. But when this is now resurfaced, everybody's saying, but it's out of context. That didn't cost him the fight. Well, what he's saying is, that's what he effectively was saying, that his legs were weak because of the 40+ pound costume, which the costume guys they hit in and said that the costume was 26 pounds, and he actually had he actually tried it on, and so it wasn't overly heavy. But yeah, so that was. I don't understand why now that my man this has come out, the narrative has now been spun that isn't the reason that Deontay Wilder said he lost the fight, where it was the initial reason why he said he lost the fight. I just wanted to know. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I got it. So this is for me a question about media literacy, and it's actually what I studied, and I worked in the biz for a bit at the beginning of my career as a working person. But all right, so the question is, why didn't you look the way that we saw you look in 40 plus fights? The answer Wilder gave was the costume was heavy, the mask, restricted his breathing. It wasn't. Well, the real question I only asked was, what happened? Why didn't you look the way we seen you in 40 plus fights? Was it Fury that hurt you? Wilder says, no, that's not what it was. The costume was heavy, the mask restricted my breathing, my legs weren't under me, right? People act like what Kevin Iole asked was, why did you lose the fight? Just like you just said. But really what he asked was, why didn't you look the way that we saw you look?
Why didn't he see himself?
So then, I've been a Wilder fan. I go all over the place. Like some places I go to are pro Wilder. Some people don't care one way or the other. Some people like Wilder, right? So in the channels that for some reason can't figure out how to say a positive thing about the guy, they immediately, because the article suggested that the guy was making excuses. As a matter of fact, I think that's what the publication, I think it was Yahoo Sports, that's what their headline was. Wilder makes excuses. Meanwhile, what Wilder did was just answer the guy about why he felt like he didn't look the same way that night. So immediately everybody said, you know what? They're taking the guy out of context. He was speculating about why, and that was one of many things, by the way. The costume was part of it. He also said some other things were going on in his life. He said some other, like, whatever. He mentioned a bunch of things. Everybody fixated on just the costume. And the question was why he didn't feel that way. Not why he lost the fight. Right? And even the night of the fight, in the ring, he's like, yeah, some things went wrong, but the best man won. Right? So even right after the fight in the ring, he referenced some things being weird before the fight. Right? But he still gave Tyson Fury his props. And then we moved on. Right? So for the Wilder fans comment, the Wilder fans immediately, because Wilder came out afterwards and said he was taken out of context. So Wilder fans started saying he was taken out of context. So then the same quote gets re-released as if the issue is Wilder never said what he said. But that wasn't what the issue was. The issue was what he said, the content of his words were taken out of context. And everyone keeps acting like Kevin Iole, everyone keeps acting like what Kevin Iole asked was, okay, just as you just said it. You just said, he effectively said that's my okay. You just said that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Just to say that, the fans did say that it wasn't ever said by Wilder himself, but sorry.
Right. So we have to produce that, right? So people are saying that without actually attaching it to a person or to a quote. So people are coming out of the woodwork and saying all of these fans, people are coming out of the woodwork and saying all these fans said he never said it. Meanwhile, they can't point to a single instance of these fans saying that, right? So, but we can just move on. The issue is people acting as though Kevin Iole asked, hey, Wilder, why did you lose the fight? And Wilder said, I lost the fight because of the costume. Meanwhile, that's not what happened. Meanwhile, that's not. And I'll tell you about the context, right? If Kevin Iole had asked, why did you lose the fight? And Wilder said it was because of the costume, then I would absolutely understand what all of this brouhaha is about. But that's not what happened. Because the context in this situation is important. It's actually very illuminating for me, but other people, like when it comes really right down to it, this is like 10% of teapot and the 21st century promotion, right? So it sounds like, hey, let's make a bunch of excuses and not hold the guy accountable.
And a sprinkle of 5%ers. Don't get that.
I mean, yeah, whatever. There's all kinds of factions. There's all kinds. All right. There's any number of factions. There's any number of factions. Okay. It also.
For a number, but
I got you. Well, we can also go Sturgeon's law, right? 90% of all content is crap. So
Okay.
and that's it. Like,
Okay.
right. So
Another
this seems like
10% is non-crap. So,
I mean, we can keep going. Like,
what?
80% of outcome is caused by 20% through causes. I mean, there's all sense of. I said 80% of outcomes are caused by the result is
Of
20% of the
course.
cause, right?
Mhm.
But regardless of the generic figures that you can throw out that could fit any particular situation, this specific situation was, does Wilder not? Well, I think that Wilder says stuff, answers questions in a way that that creates an atmosphere that people can jump on. Now, if you want to talk about the Breland accusations, that's definitely flaunting one of the maxims, right? If you're going to accuse somebody of something, then the onus is on you as as a person, and engaging in polite discourse, right? If you're
Mhm.
going to accuse somebody, you should have you should produce the underlying proof to the satisfaction, just so people understand what it is you're talking about.
Yeah.
I understand Wilder hasn't done that, right? So if people are upset about that, I can get it, right? It's on him. Whether the way that he answers his questions, I think that the guy is sincere and upfront. I think that he's saying what he believes, right? Whether or not
Mhm.
it's the fact of the matter is whether or not he's factually correct is a separate issue. That he actually thinks that. So, I don't know the truth. If actually what he is the truth, then I don't know what we're talking about. It seems possible and real to me that a mask that would restrict your breathing and a 40-pound suit would weaken the
It
legs.
was
That doesn't
26
sound like
pounds.
craziness to me.
It was 26 pounds.
Well, however much it weighed,
Yeah, it was 26 pounds.
it doesn't seem that unreasonable to me that would actually affect your legs, right? It just doesn't. So
Mhm.
whether or not it did or it didn't, it's just not that interesting. Like for me, I'm in it for the fights. The fight was like kind of it was competitive for 2 rounds. Maybe 2.5 rounds, and it wasn't. For, like in the middle of the third round,
Your
it turned
internet,
into a straight
Samson,
wash.
yeah, get back into internet. Your internet's cutting out. Your internet
Oh,
is,
okay, yeah,
your Wi-Fi is as wishy-washy as Wilder's lies.
Okay.
believe what we believe, right? But you have to be
That's
you
what
have
I'm
to be careful of the
saying.
egocentric bias that you think you
All right, but look, but your
that you don't
Wi-Fi
project your
is,
beliefs on other people.
no,
Okay,
but your
yeah,
Wi-Fi
I'll come in.
your Wi-Fi's bad. Your Wi-Fi's bad. It is bad. Can sort it out, and then we will be all be able to hear you properly. Cool. Out and then in. The Wi-Fi, I couldn't hear it. For me, it was going a bit robotic, so I couldn't hear it, guys.
Yeah, he
Sorry.
probably walked off. I don't. Maybe he
No,
didn't.
there you are. There
Okay.
you. Yeah, is that better? Let me hear you. Check. 1, 2. Smoke.
Yeah, it should be better right now. Go to the house. So
Yeah. Counterpunch boxing news is here with us. I thought everybody. Well, I know Smoke never shows his face. Why is it just my face that's to be on here?
No, because it's the prettiest face.
Well, I won't deny that, but hey,
There you go.
it's very
Maybe me and
charming.
Smoke, we have a face for radio. So
exactly. Nobody wants to compete with.
Smoke. That internet.
It's still bad.
That's
It's
better.
still
well,
bad.
yeah, it's good right
It just
now.
stopped
It's
us
good
a
right now. I
minute.
don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was saying
All
nobody
right.
wants to compete with those lips.
Uh-oh. Counterpunch.
Yeah. Counterpunch to you. For real. It's true. I know. I thought I'd brighten it up because I'm quite tired today. I don't know if you can tell my energy is a bit low, but it will pick up. I'm here to listen, and so Kurt. This is Kurt, by the way, from Counterpunch Boxing News GTS, and
Yeah, no,
yeah.
Kurt DeVille. I've commented on this thing before. We've it's been a while, maybe a year ago since I've been over there, but said a couple things. We exchanged a couple words in the live.
Good. So, Kurt, do you want to chime in on anything about the initial number one numero uno excuse?
Well, I mean,
Given or
well, see, the thing is, the point is, it's not because I think it's nitpicky at the point where you say, well, that's not the reason he lost versus look, the reason he lost was the style, the technique. Those are the reasons he lost. Okay. Now, if he wants to admit that or not, that's on him. But us as spectators, fans, you see what he used in his words. Only he can be accountable for. Nobody else. Nobody else can be accountable for what we think he meant. No, it's what he said. When someone asks him a question, well, why couldn't you think you did this and that? See, my big thing with Wilder was when you hit Fury in the first round, and then you hit him again in the second round, he did a lot better than he did the first fight. It took him 9 rounds, or should I say 8 rounds, to do what he eventually did, okay? By hitting him and catching him with the right and dropping him. Well, he caught him in the in the second fight, in the first round, and he didn't knock him down. So I'm like, okay, well, what happened to the power? What's the deal with him? You know, because the punches weren't giving the same effect as they were before, right? And I know he was swinging for the fences, but it was a nice shot. He hit him right to the temple. He didn't hit him on the kisser, anything like that. He hit him right to the temple. But Fury was still there. Maybe it grazed, maybe he went with it. But what was the question? The question, well, why couldn't you do what you normally did? Well, I think the costume was too heavy. So when people do that, of course they're going to run with it. That's what people do. So that's expected. But then he gave them that to run with. And people laughed that shit out of the park. They did. And then I think what it is, people had to do damage control because they even admitted. Smoke, what do you think about that first comment, that the uniform excuse? The costume excuse. What do you think about that initially when you heard it?
All right. So initially, I thought everybody's calling it an excuse, and that doesn't sound like an excuse to me, right? It's the same thing that you guys keep framing it as an excuse. But the issue for me is, if what he is saying is true, is it an excuse?
I mean, was it true though? Do you believe that?
No, I'm asking you. Like, only that guy knows, right? Only he's in his body. If a guy asks you, why didn't you feel like?
Maybe it was true.
I'm asking. I'm like, here's the thing. If a guy asks you, why didn't we see the normal? Why didn't we see the normal Wilder that we're used to seeing? Did Fury hurt you? And you go, no, it wasn't Fury that hurt me. I wasn't feeling myself because of this other thing, and that's what you think. Are you making an excuse?
Okay, that's the thing. Stu, do you think he believed what he said?
Yes.
I
think that he believes that, regardless of if that's the case.
Okay, so you don't think at any time when those punches were dropping him down, when he dropped from the body punch, he wasn't hurt? When he got hit in the first knockdown, he wasn't hurt at all? So you think his legs contributed?
I think that
you think his legs
So here's the right. So the question is, all right. So do I think?
Do you think that
was affected by the punches that got hit?
Dude, just answer the question.
Right,
do you think that the punch is hard?
Do I think Fury hurt him? Yes, I think Fury hurt him in the fight.
Okay, all right, cool.
Okay,
but the question, I think you guys are answering a different question.
Smoke. Hold on.
Yeah,
let's back up. Let's back up. Look. So what you're saying is you don't believe what Wilder said because he said they didn't hurt me at all.
No, the question, and let's keep it in context, Kurt. The question is, why didn't we see you look the way that we're used to seeing you? Was it because you were hurt? Not whether or not you were hurt at all.
That one we agreed that, that's what he felt, that's not what he felt that cost him the fight. Like what made him feel not himself was that the on entry.
That he was hurt.
Yes. Okay. Right. So now him saying,
not that he was never hurt in the first place, right?
No. Wait.
I'm listening.
Yes.
I'm trying to answer a question. There might be a delay too. There might be a delay.
There's always a delay with you lot. When there's supposed to be a delay, there's no delay. When there's supposed to be a delay, there's no delay, and delays and delays. Delays on delays. I don't care. Let's just get through this, without everybody over talking each other. So I agree with what you're saying, Smoke. If that's what he felt, that costume made him feel his legs not work correctly, cool. So now where we're going is, he said after the fight, at the post-fight interview, that the punches didn't hurt him. This is within context, right? The punches didn't hurt him at all. Okay? So with the blood coming out of his ears and stuff like that, you're saying that you feel that the punches did hurt him. So therefore, there's a confliction of what you think, what he's told the truth, right? Because you're saying, by the looks of it, like with most people, it looks like he got hurt by those punches, right? So him then coming with, so he lied. He either we saw it wrong, or he may be lying. You know what I'm saying? Because
okay. Here's the thing. This isn't about truth, right? This is about perception. From what I saw Tyson Fury punches hurt him, right? What he felt, he may not have felt the pain in his head, right? We can see the visible effects of him being hurt, but you're in the middle. If you've ever been in a fight, adrenaline's going. You might the next day you might see you have a missing tooth, but in the moment you don't feel the punch, right? He could not have felt the pain, but from what I saw, I saw what I thought was an injured fighter, and I thought it was a good stoppage.
Well, Smoke, to add to that, to be fair, anytime you get hit in the head, that's cerebral, so you're not going to feel it like a body punch or a punch to the arm or a leg or any part of your body. So it's going to be different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It doesn't have to rise to the level of I know the truth and Deontay Wilder's lying, right?
No, it's just sometimes you just want to, because everybody just kind of wants to fucking move on. Let's have it right. This is 2021 out here. The fight happened this time last year, and we're still hearing more excuses and excuses. If we had nothing more after maybe the first stupid costume thing, we would have all left it and gone about our damn business. But to be fair, he left it for 10 months and said nothing until his contract was expired, and then Tyson Fury was going about his well-earned business. Yeah. Then we heard, like I said, you guys, when you're not supposed to be delayed, you're mad delayed, because he should have spoke previously to that 9 months before he came out. So we're all ready to move on. We haven't heard from Wilder for 9 months. The whole boxing community's cool. All right, cool. Let's just move on. And then, bam, when the contract is so-called expired, then we hear all this talk. This is why it's all been rehashed. Don't blame us just speaking about it. We wanted to be done with it. So we're speaking about it because he keeps coming out with more things. And more things and more things upon more things. So we're just here to debunk and speak about it. It's not about who tells the truth and who's not. We'll never know who tells the truth. We'll never know who's lying. But you can gauge pretty much, like, while we go through the debunking, you'll see, I'm sure, things that you may think, oh, that actually does make sense. Because there was something that you just said to me. How do we know that the uniform didn't make his legs feel weak? Cool. I can go with that. So I just prefer everybody like you to be open-minded and listen and don't be so shut in the door in the face and go, oh, everything is in perception and in context. Yeah, everything is in perception in context. And when everything is banged to rights and said and audios is leaked, all of a sudden the narratives are always rewritten. Quickly, you lot getting no. What can we do? What can we do? Like, we're calling a big meeting. We need to come up with something else because our leader is failing here. We're done with it, so we're just going to debunk it and we're going to move on.
Well, I'll tell you this: there's some truth to what you're saying, lady. But there are just lies too. They're just people lying.
Lying. Yeah,
I'm going to tell you this, and let me add to this though. The reason why I say that is because. Smoke, you believe, well, I believe the costume did affect his legs. Okay, well, all right, well, what about the fireman costume that he had jumping around in? That was 50 to 100 pounds. That shit is 50 to 100 pounds. And if anybody that knows anything about firemen, okay, I was actually maybe I was in early 20s, but I was going to become a fireman, and you need a lot of stuff. And then, I put on that shit's heavy. It's a lot heavier than 46 pounds. The guys that created that costume said it was 46 pounds because, in fact, when they heard about the excuse or the reason, right? And I call it excuse because he lost. Reasons are for the winners, for me. But that's my philosophy. But anyway, they called him and he was like, no, it's not your fault. So he had to backtrack because he didn't want to really throw them under the bus like they thought he was. Because that's what it is. Hey, my costume was too heavy. And then they immediately thought, well, shit, we made it too heavy for him. So it affected his performance. But that's the first thing we have. We can only use what we got. That's all we had. The only thing you can say about a person that says, oh, man, the costume was too heavy. I mean, if he felt that way, for one, he shouldn't have said that. That's the last thing he should have said because people laughed at him. People thought that was humorous. And what would people think? I mean, what else would people think? Hey, did this man say his costume was heavy? That's why he felt that affected the fight. And see, whatever affected him during the fight, that's what aided him to lose. Okay, so that's why it's like nitpicky. Yeah. So technically, he's saying, oh, yeah, that's what helped me lose this fight. Because this costume was heavy and I came in, my legs were shaky because when they took it off, it felt like a weight was lifted, and in my back, it affected my back and my hips. And my hips, I couldn't twerk and turn. Like Ezel said, it was my neck. My neck, my back, my neck, and my back.
Yeah,
So it's one of those things, man. Where and then the problem is the lies. Because if he used it as an excuse or not, that's on him. But it's the lies. Oh, he didn't say it at all. Yeah, he did. Because, see, these things are just coming back out. See, when you keep lying, people are going to keep finding truths, especially when things are not the way it used to be. Things that used to be, hey, don't talk about this. Don't talk about that. What's the big issue now? The big issue is, it's like damn near the statute of limitations are kind of uplifted because these people that got fired. You got Mark Breland. Then his son has come forward. Then you got other people that are coming out saying, hey, you know what? This didn't really happen the way people thought it did. You had sparring partners saying this and that, contradicting this and that from what I've heard. Tay Jones told me. This ain't shit I heard. Tay Jones told me. If you want to look at that, he say, man, that never happened.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder never said that.
Yeah.
You can watch that right now. See, these things are lies.
The lies.
You can call it what it is, but what it is at the end of the day is lies. You can call it damage control. You can call it whatever, but it was a lie. Yeah. Like, hey, yeah. Well, but so the question you ask yourself, if you want to throw Fury under the bus, like, hey, man, I think Fury cheated. If he cheated back then, he could cheat again. And once a cheater, always a cheater. Well, is once a liar, always a liar? So we can assume that. So because people are busy reaching for shit that, may or may not be there.
Right.
So it's one of those things, man, where you look at it and you're like, hey, what did Wilder say? He either said it or he didn't. There's people saying that he did not say it. And it was that was one of the basis of defending Wilder. Like, he never complained at all. And in complaining is making excuses. Right? Do you think making excuses? Right, so what do you call an excuse? Smoke. What do you call an excuse?
Okay, so let me. I'll answer your question, right? But you made 3 points and then ask me a question. So let me go through your 3 points, then I'll answer your question.
Yes, sir.
Right. So the first thing is the weight of the uniform, right? That could be why he stupidly thought, because he's done these workouts. Maybe that's why he stupidly thought he could have something that heavy, and it would not affect him going to a professional. Sounds dumb to me. I think one of the things that he actually took responsibility for was the fact that he didn't prep in the uniform beforehand and understand how it was heavy and how that might affect his performance, right? And it wasn't just the weight of the costume. He also spoke about the mask, and that's the whole thing about Parsons' argument. That it seems that people are
you sound like you're
fixated on whether or not it's a truth or a lie.
Bloody hell, the
Smoke,
smoke.
smoke, smoke.
Okay,
Come
I'm
back.
sorry. Yes,
Yeah, your
Sound
internet.
like you're in a
Your
go
internet.
ahead.
nuclear
Go ahead. I'll come
bunker.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm coming out. I was just having to go in the room I was in. That's all.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Oh,
all.
okay, okay, okay.
So
That's
yeah,
fair.
so here we go. There you go. I'll come to a different part of the house.
Yeah, it sounds a
Right.
lot better.
So
Sounds a lot
yeah,
better.
the weight of the yeah. All right. So here we go. So right. So when it comes to the weight of the costume, I believe, and
Versus the
whatever
mask, right?
the you know the well, not just that, right? The entire costume. The fact that he didn't understand how it would affect him, I believe that he took full responsibility for that. Said that was my bad. I should have done that. I should have prepped it better, right? So that's just that part of it. The difference between, and I'll just answer your question right now. The difference between an excuse and a lie, right? A lie is a falsehood with the intent to deceive. An excuse is a way to lay blame onto something else so that you don't accept responsibility for the negative outcome. So if you say
Right.
that
All right,
it's
so there
because
was
of the
lies
suit,
and
right?
excuses.
If he's saying that it's because of the suit, and he's saying that the reason why the suit affected him was all his fault, that sounds like taking responsibility for the suit, right? So even if he put the suit as the reason why he lost, he put the reason that the suit even was the issue on himself. He didn't put it on Mark Breland. He didn't put it on JD's. He didn't put it on the costume makers. He put it on himself, right? So when it comes to Tay Jones, right? So and we'll have to you can pull up where Tay Jones, if he said that Wilder never uttered those words, or maybe
Uh huh.
Tay Jones is talking, is also being taken out of context and saying he didn't mean what he said when he said those things, right? So you'd have to put up those words. But it seems awfully weird to me that Kevin Iole would need to re-release the statement because Tay Jones said Wilder never said it, right? That seems to be a far stretch for me. So from what I heard Deontay Wilder say that they took him out of context. I heard several channels say that he took him out of context. So I don't know why you would
Yeah,
have
just
to do
provide the
a
link. Just provide the links for all of that so I can have a listen.
yeah, exactly. So, right. So
Yeah,
there we go. So we don't have to do these amorphous
yeah, yeah. No,
man
you're
said
gonna
this
give me the
whole
link.
thing, right?
Yeah, no, you're
Since
giving the links
we're
there,
talking
right?
about that, right? So yeah, I guess that's that part of it. When I mean,
What was the next bit? What was
just to address what Lady Chann was saying when it comes to the length of time that passed, right? So I believe so. He lost in February, right? The whole world got locked down over in stages, right? From basically a week after that fight all the way up until like really right now. And there was
Hmm.
several things that happened in between those things. They tried to make the fight that kept getting postponed. It seemed to be nobody's fault. And then finally, Tyson Fury came out and said, "I've had enough." Tyson Fury's crowd said the contract has expired. Right. So all of this,
no,
while yeah,
no. Wilder said he had a bicep surgery because his bicep
right,
was torn off the bone.
yes, but the bicep surgery had absolute. There's no okay. So if there was a postponement because of a surgery, right? I think that both sides actually already agreed to that. The fallout happened when they
No, 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 no,
finally
no,
made.
no, no. Wait. So we didn't actually know if he actually had a surgery.
Okay,
He said his brother or his best friend, Tay Jones, said,
regardless of
wait,
all, regardless of
no,
all
no,
that backup.
no, 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 smoke. What did I say about over talking?
I was in
So,
the middle of a sentence, but I'm not. I'm the one being overtalked.
because you're moving over the timeline. So, because you've
Okay.
just jumped. You've jumped.
No,
You've jumped.
listen. Both of you guys layered
No, no, no.
you dogpiled your argument. So I had to.
No, no, no. You just tried to quantum leap. Like, let's keep
No,
it in
I'm
the.
not doing quantum leaps. You said something, and then Kurt said something. I
Yeah, but
addressed what Kurt said.
you went, because
Okay,
listen,
okay,
Smoke. It's because you. All right, go, because then we're gonna have to keep
okay.
going back and
Yes,
forth.
exactly.
If you
Hey,
don't
let me
want to,
finish
if
my.
you don't want to stick to the timeline of lies,
Oh,
then
okay,
this
okay,
is really
great. You can debug my timeline after I'm done, right? So
No,
there
we
was a
won't
bunch.
debunk it after you're done. I'll debunk it when I say that you're done, and you'll keep a gap, and then we'll reply. Because this is not your show. You
Yeah,
like to
whatever.
come in here being too rude. I'm gonna have to cut you down to size. Stop doing it. Because last time I let you run the fucking thing. Stop it. I'm a big woman. I've pushed out 3 kids out of my vagina. Stop. Okay?
Yeah,
All right.
hey,
So
listen, I am not coming after your ovary. Okay,
let's keep it a buck here. Yeah, no over talking, no rude, because I'll just mute you. like I had to do before. And I hate doing that because it's demoralizing. Stop it. So we won't stop. You say your bit. We won't go through everything because we haven't got time to go back and forth. I was just trying to make it a bit shorter before us having to go all the way back, because it's just convenient that you've gone all the way to the end of the timeline and there's so much shit in the middle. But yeah, go ahead. And when I'm ready, I'm just going to cut you. So go ahead.
Okay, I'm not coming after your ovaries, but when you say no over talking, apparently that's just me. Okay.
You can't have them.
I'm not going after your ovaries. So right, I'm all good with pushing out babies. I raised 3 myself, right? My youngest is turning 18.
Let's go, Smoke. You didn't push them out. Let's go. Everything is a debate with you guys. I pushed them out. You raised them. Kudos. Let's go.
Right. So I was addressing the fact that you said it went on for 9 months without him saying anything. So I was addressing the 9 months. I wasn't going all the way back. I didn't go back 9 years. I went back to addressing the statement that you made about him not saying anything for 9 months. What was happening during that 9 months? First thing, the context that I think divide was the fact that 9 months was during a worldwide shutdown. So all of boxing started to shut down in layers, and they tried to make the fight several times, but the world didn't open up. Maybe during that section, there was some surgery. Regardless of what happened, both sides actually agreed to those postponements. The issue came when they tried to make a date, and the networks said no. Right? Because at that point all of sports was coming back at the end of the first part of the lockdown. So they put a date out. The networks rejected the date. At which point Fury said, "I've had enough. I'm going to move on." And that is when Wilder came out.
Smoke. Question, real quick.
Yep.
Which networks? Which networks had a problem?
I believe it was Fox, but it could have been Fox and ESPN. But it's a Bob Arum quote. Like I can pull up the link. Once I'm right. So I'll show you. So even Bob Arum came out and said Wilder's just a victim of COVID of the time, right? And that's cool. That's what Bob's take was. That's what Fury's take was. However, Team Wilder had a different idea about this whole idea about the contract being canceled. He said, "Hold up, Bob. That's a novel take, but we actually going to take this we're going to actually exercise one of our contract clause stipulations. This contract that everybody insists that is expired. They're now going through. First, it was arbitration, and then mediation, then arbitration, right? So that right there, the fact that you'd have to go through mediation and arbitration, definitely is an indication for anybody who understands this that the contract is not expired, right? Because or else they would be in court, not in arbitration. Right. So there's a first thing that's something smelling kind of fishy here. The other part of this is that Bob Arum is now the guy coming out and saying that they have no leg to stand on. You know who does that? You know who makes that decision? The judge of the arbitration, who we have not heard from. So this idea that the contract is expired is an idea that is coming from one side. Right. And they have the dispute. They're perfectly reasonable. It's perfectly reasonable for them to feel however they feel. However, there's still a process to which to determine who is correct, and they're doing that process right now.
Between the mediation and the arbitration, right?
Right. So the mediation, it's mediation then arbitration. Mediation happens. I don't know if you guys have gone through this process.
Yeah. I know the mediation is.
So we don't need it. Anytime we need to break down, we'll ask if we don't get something.
No, yeah, it's just bad. It's just if the two sides can't come together, they make them talk, and then if they can't figure it out, then the judge.
We know what it is, babe. Okay, cool. I just went to you. If there's something that we don't know, we'll ask. We know what mediation and we know what arbitration is.
Right. So that's where they're at. That's where they're at. And so even though the Fury side, the Fury team is coming out and saying they don't have a leg to stand on, the contract is expired, all of this stuff. That actually has been, it's not for them to determine. It's actually for somebody else to determine that hasn't determined that yet.
You do know go on, sorry, Kay. Go.
Well, I mean, Shelly Finkel's already came out and said, well, they're going to arbitration, right?
Yeah,
they're going to sue.
Right now.
You just said that, so you can't say they're still in mediation. Yeah. You can't say they're in mediation when Shelly Finkel's already went to sue. I know what arbitration means. That's when you're going to sue somebody. Am I
Okay,
right or
so
am I wrong? Am I right or
you're
am I
wrong.
wrong?
You're wrong. The mediation and arbitration is how do you come to an understanding about a dispute, right? So
That's a mediation, right?
no, but
But what's an arbitration?
it's a two-step process. The mediation is when the two parties get together and they try to figure it out amongst themselves. If they cannot
Hmm.
figure it out themselves,
It
then a
moves to
judge,
arbitration.
yes, the judge, it moves to arbitration, and a judge makes a decision on it.
But the mediation was never, which was already spoken by Wilder and his team, that the mediation wasn't for the third fight. The
It's for
mediation was
money.
for the money because the third fight wasn't happening. So they went to mediation to mediate and negotiate how much Tyson Fury, if negligent, how much he should pay. And obviously they couldn't come to an agreement of that. So it's moved on to arbitration, and Deontay Wilder has pressed it to arbitration, and therefore there's going to be a ruling of how much money, if any money, is to be given. And that's only if that has been found fault on the Tyson Fury team. And if it's found that Tyson Fury, if it's found that the initial contract was, it had an expiration date and didn't cover for an act of God clause, or maybe it did cover for an act of God clause, but then after that, a specific amount of time, if that hasn't been executed by Team Wilder, then Team Wilder are negligent, and arbitration will state they will have no damages paid to them. It was never done for a third fight.
Right. So apparently, that is not what that's not what Team Wilder is saying.
It's a
Okay, but
fact.
okay, but that's not what Team Wilder is saying. Team Wilder is saying that they're going to arbitration for the third fight. Right. So there's another dispute. So there's another dispute. Shelley is not saying. Shelley is
What
not
was the
saying.
last?
Right. Shelley is
What was
not
the
saying
last
that.
thing Shelley said? Where did you
Shelley,
get your source from?
right. So it was a direct quote from Shelley Finkel saying that they feel very strong about their case and it's about the third fight.
Provide the link
Okay, cool. We'll do.
now, if you can.
Yeah, no, I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, thanks. This was something muy interesante on YouTube. Muchos contragolpes, ¿sí? Anyway, we could.
I can listen and do this at the same time.
Yeah, of course. As long as you can multitask. So because you guys can spin off multiple lies, so you must be able to multitask at least. But Scotty, when we was talking about what was the thing? When he was talking about his bicep torn off the bone. Remember that came verbatim from Tay Jones's mouth, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
This is two parts. Did he ever have an operation for that at all? Yay or nay? Because regardless, if he had an operation for it, he was never going to be ready for the fight anyway. And do you understand? And what we all found, with that level of member of the bicep coming off the bone, it's at least, what was it, like a 10-month healing process? Do you remember?
Well, yeah, if it was off, according to
the bone.
Well, yeah, like he said, it was off the bone. So if it's off the bone,
right. So you're saying that, right? So neither team at this point have said anything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Neither side at this point are saying anything about a bicep injury being the issue. The issue seemed to be the breaking point seemed to be about this the networks not being agreeing to date. That was supposed to be last year, right? That was the final tipping point where both sides went left. And then Wilder came out, made his accusations, and apparently offended Tyson Fury to the point where Tyson Fury says he doesn't want to fight him.
Sorry, I zoned out. I didn't even listen. I'm not going to lie. Sorry. Did you listen to that, Kurt? I'm sorry. I literally started looking at comments and zoned out. Did you hear
No, but no, what you said the last thing was the networks couldn't get together, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what you said. The network said
Yeah. They're like neither side is saying that citing the surgery as a reason why the fight didn't happen. Both sides are citing the fact that the networks didn't agree to the date, and that's why the fight didn't happen.
Yeah, well,
that's what that part of.
Yeah, there isn't any proof that any surgery occurred. There isn't any proof that he actually had a bicep injury. He did say that he had the bicep injury. He got that during camp or whatever, and there's no way that you can enter a fight with a bicep injury, which the bicep is torn off the bone. You wouldn't be able to throw one punch. You wouldn't be able to even have lifted your arm. So that already, we already knew that was a lie. So
here's the main thing though. The main thing is, when did he have it? When did he have the injury? Forget when he had the surgery. It doesn't matter when he had the surgery. It's when did he have it? Because it's like this. It's supposed to have been in camp. It's supposed to have been of the fight. What did Wilder say? Didn't Wilder make a PBC interview like that one he had back then, and then they asked him about the bicep? Smoke, you remember that one? Smoke.
Yeah, sorry. There we go. Yes. He's had several injuries. I just don't understand why we're going down this thing.
We're going down it, Smoke. You can't pick the big things that we're going to go down.
Yeah, but I mean, he's asking me if I saw it. He's asking me if I saw an interview about a bicep injury. I don't know. Maybe he only
had 2 interviews last year. So the one he had with PBC after the loss, I'm just asking you, do you remember seeing that one?
No, I mean, I saw him have more than 2 interviews last year. That's firstly. I mean, we're just not operating from the same group of facts. So I'm not quite sure. If both teams are saying that the shoulder injury had nothing to do with the fight not happening, I don't know why we're trying to make the shoulder injury a reason why the fight didn't happen.
No, there wasn't a shoulder injury. It was a bicep injury.
We got injury, any kind of injury.
No. Any kind of injury.
It can't be any kind of injury because that's not the point.
I'm saying neither side is citing an injury as the reason why the fight didn't happen.
Okay, well, his side cited that we're not talking about the injury due to why he lost. We're saying that he made up or seemed to have made up an injury to say that he went into the fight at a disadvantage because he said he obtained a bicep injury, which the bicep was torn off the bone. And when he went into the fight. So So I just did my due diligence and made sure that I could find out all different levels of bicep injuries that are torn off the bone because there's different, obviously, injuries. Different.
Well, Smoke also.
Wouldn't have been able to.
His friend Tay Jones told me that he was off the bone.
Yeah.
So,
that's
but he told me he went into that. He told me he went into that fight with that injury.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, see, Wilder said he got that. Well, what I'm saying is, Wilder said in that interview to PBC Fox, he said that I acquired that injury and at the fight. His sparring partner said it wasn't really that big of a deal to even have a surgery. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's another
Junior Fa, right?
With that. Junior Fa, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then Shelly Finkel said that no. He had a whole different story. So if you got 4 different people, Wilder, Tay Jones, Junior Fa, Shelly Finkel, all Team Wilder, or all affiliated with Wilder, rather, because Tay Jones is not an official, team.
Just his best friend.
Just his best friend.
Junior Fa is the fighter that's going to be fighting.
Well, Junior Fa, what he's asking, baby, is Junior Fa. He was the sparring partner of Wilder for the fight, for the Fury fight. Yeah, he was the sparring partner. Mm-hmm. So he sparred Wilder to get Wilder prepared for Tyson Fury.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? In each report, everything was different. Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with the fight. You're right, it doesn't. Not having the third fight, but everything evolved around the second fight. That's what we could, that's added to the costume. And oh well, the costume was too heavy, but you're wearing a fireman outfit. You're running around, you're moving with it. So even if he believed it or not, or whatever, or Fury can punch or not, so it has everything to do with excuses. So really to take ownership, I think the costume, he would rather allude to the costume rather than to admit Tyson Fury can punch him and hurt him, because the narrative was that Fury can't punch, right? And then, of course, what would help Fury punch harder would be him to tamper with the gloves. So, we have a lot of those things that are hidden because people are trying to hide facts or hide truths. So that's the whole point.
Yeah, so that was one thing, yeah.
Okay, so the controversy around an injury going into the fight. I do remember that there was supposed to be some injury that happened before. I don't remember the exact details of it.
I remember the exact details. You just said it to you. Yeah,
I remember that you just told me that, but I'm talking about I don't remember it at the time. Like I remember what you just said, right? My memory, my short-term memory is just fine. It wasn't. It's just
a long-term memory.
It's really the fact that Wilder is prone. He's injury prone. He said this at least 3 different times that he went into a fight with an injury, got injured in camp.
Right.
So it went as white noise to me that he was saying it wasn't that important. Even when he was knocking out Dominic Breazeale, he was saying he went into that fight, with an injury, right?
You don't go into a fight with a bicep torn off the bone. That's all we're saying anyway. But yeah.
I got it. Right. Listen, I understand what you guys are saying. It seems to me that you guys are concluding that Wilder's lying because he says a whole bunch of stuff that you don't believe, right? And I understand that is your conclusion, right? Like,
hold on. Wait a minute.
I get you guys. Right. Okay, because both of you guys are saying he's lying, right? Both of you guys. So when I say you guys, it's because two of you are saying he's lying. Okay.
Hold on. I said,
is anyone else going to hold on when I say hold on? I don't understand why I'm the only one.
You're not holding though. You're not holding though.
I'm going to be 50 years old in 2 weeks.
You're constantly talking.
I know because I was talking. That's why. So why I got to hold up when I'm the one talking?
Oh, well, go ahead. You go ahead because I was trying to add to that. But if you're talking and you won't let no one else talk, how can we talk with you?
Okay. When you were talking, I didn't say hold up. I just let you finish and then rebutted to what you said. Why is that a problem?
No, it's not a problem. It's just the thing is when I said hold up, you said you're guys. That means I have a problem with what you said. So if you can remember when I said hold up, that's fine. Go ahead and talk. Because you said I concluded with I said Wilder was a liar. You said
right.
He's a liar.
I said you guys have jumped. You guys have concluded that Wilder's lying based on the information that you have available. Right, the information.
That was a lie. That was one of the lies.
Well, was a lie. Right, based on the information, based on conflicting reports coming out of the camp. Right, that is what you're basing. That.
Yeah. You just.
You guys talk. Go ahead. You guys talk. I'm going to go on mute. You guys.
I mean, I was talking to you, Smoke, but it's I don't know why would you go on mute? Why would you mute yourself? Because I was answering your question. I mean, is that
because
it?
Because I can't actually without somebody interrupting me. That's why. We're not going to talk over each other. We won't talk over each other. You won't let me get a word out. So I'm just going on and you guys talk. And then when you're done,
listen. Hold on. Your problem is you don't know how to stop when someone else is talking. You think you can just talk without listening. So when you say something that makes me think you don't listen because you can't stop. You can't have a conversation when someone speaks. You can't say, "Hey, all right, let me let you speak," and then you speak. You can't do that, can you?
No.
If I can get my thoughts out uninterrupted, I would be very grateful. But if I can't do that, I'm just going to go on. I'm just going to go on mute, and you guys do your thing.
Go.
But you can't do that.
Say it.
But hold on, baby. Hold on. Do you see what I let you do? I let you speak. I didn't keep speaking just because I wanted to keep talking. You see what I'm saying? So when I talk, it's okay. I mean, unless you just can't. Now, if you can't, like if you just got to keep talking and say what you got to say before you forget what you say, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, you said that. Were you finished when you said, okay, well, you guys have all these things concluded with that? Do you have anything else to say about that?